Hi to everybody who's made it to the end of this video series on Endnote. You're in the advanced Endnote section. This video number 11, which is like a bonus video, almost like a secret track at the end of a music album. Now, this is kind of extra, so don't feel like you have to watch this, but one of the benefits of doing this as a pre-recorded video is that I actually have no idea how many people are here. So I'm going to imagine to myself that hundreds of students have loved this series and they're all here hungry for this bonus video. But for some of you, or maybe one or two of you, you might find that you get into a little trouble with Endnote because of duplicates. And that's what I want to cover in this video. It'll be a little bit longer, just like the previous one. For some reason, Endnote sometimes creates duplicate entries, even though you're trying not to do that. And the other way duplicates get in is that you accidentally add a reference and forget that it's already in your library. You can also bring in bulk references into your library and not realize that a reference is already there. And then later on, you find it separately and you add it. Either way, if you have duplicates in your library, that can be a complete nightmare, because if you are working on a certain document and you have two versions of, let's say, we'll continue to work with the same examples, but let's say that you have two versions of this Alonso paper. If you start citing in your article the two different versions of it, then Endnote will think that they are totally different references, and it will be a mess because your bibliography will have the Alonso reference as two different numbers and it's the same reference. So first of all, let me show you how that can happen by bringing in that Alonso reference again. And let's just see if it is this. So earlier I didn't use this because I was illustrating how sometimes certain web pages don't make it so obvious how to import to Endnote. But in this case, we've clicked on export and we can see this is export citation. Endnote can handle RIS files. So you click on that and it'll bring it in. My Endnote's set to automatically bring those type of files in. But if not, it'll appear as a download in your browser and you bring it in. Now it's imported this reference and taken you to the imported reference page. And you can see that there's no way of knowing that you've already got it. If you click on all references, you can see that here you've got the Alonso from before, which we found the PDF for, and you've also got this Alonso paper, which is a duplicate. You can even see that they're appearing slightly differently in the author list here. And that's because we downloaded the RIS file from one website in this instance, but in the previous video from earlier in the series, we downloaded the other one. So this one here that I've got highlighted now, this one that I've got highlighted without the PDF, is the one that we just imported from here. But this one, which was from a previous video, we imported that, joined the PDF up to it, and we did that, if I remember rightly, through PubMed. And you can see that the data is just slightly different in here. So when you go to reference this, if we go back to our paper that we've been working with as an example, which is one of the ones I worked with or worked on previously, and we'll say that here we want to put in this Alonso reference. So we're going to try and find the Alonso reference, and we've now got two in our library, and here they both come up. So there are two references here. We can see here that they're actually pretty much the same. So at this stage, you know that you've got a duplicate reference. If you notice down here, you've got the record number, which is 539. That's Endnote's record number. And if you notice here, this one, the record number is 540. And that's because these were the last two that we added. But in actual fact, it might be that your duplicates, the record number is vastly different, because you might have added one ages before you added the other one. So let's say that you suddenly notice that you've been adding duplicates. In this case, it's pretty obvious, and you would say, oh, I've got a duplicate, I can't continue with this, or I have the risk that I'm going to have both papers being intertwined in my article. But if you haven't spotted that and you've been working with duplicates in your paper, let's say now I'm going to add the second one, and that's going to be inserted in the reference list as citation number 2. And then in a moment after that's done, I'll add the other reference, the first one, and I'll put it slightly later so that it'll be a different number in the order. And the way that this can happen is essentially if you do not spot that you've got a duplicate entry in your working. Because sometimes your library might contain lots of papers by someone called Alonso, and they might have similar titles, for example, and you didn't notice, you just loaded it in. So last time we did the second one, now let's do the first one. So we should have number 2 being the second Alonso, and it's going to be number 12, the next Alonso paper, which gets inserted in our citation list. And again, we can see, like with the previous videos, that Endnote is going to update this automatically. It's going to reformat all of the numbering in our entire document. And you know that 12 is going to be one of the Alonsos and 2 is going to be the other. But you're actually working with the exact same paper because you didn't realize that these were duplicated. So you've got here Alonso number 2, and then just down here, you're going to have Alonso number 12. And let's just see whether they're different. So they look pretty similar. And you know now that you've got a duplicate in your paper. Now, let's say that you have been working on this paper and you're towards the end, but you suddenly realize you've got a duplicate. But throughout the whole paper, you've been referencing both of these, flicking between one or the other, and you can't be 100% sure which one you're removing. You can't just go and say, okay, I'm going to remove number 2 from every one. So what you can do is you can actually unformat all of these and turn them into the kind of raw data that is within the document. So if you click on Convert Citations and Bibliography, Convert to Unformatted Citations, this could take a little while, but the whole document is going to have your citations put in unformatted text. And this is the way that Endnote does it. So you can see that it does the first author, the date, and then the number of the reference as it has been numbered by Endnote. So if we go up to this Alonso, these Alonso references which were duplicated, you can see that here you've got Alonso duplicate number 1, which is number 540, and you've got here Alonso 539. So now you need to decide which one you want to do. But you can change it like this, and then you know that you're going to be working with number 540. You've essentially gone in and you've edited the raw coding data that Endnote is going to use, and then you're going to convert it back out of unformatted. So you need to convert Reference Manager citations back to Endnote. Now, I can't really remember which one of this is, but let's try this one. Okay, it wasn't that one. Let's see what happens if we update. Oh, no, I've realized what I need to do, actually. So that's one of the benefits of a bonus video. You get the raw first cut that goes out on video. I haven't actually edited any of these, so you're getting the full live performance without a practice. Now, I actually don't know what Endnote's going to do here. I don't know if you're as excited as I am, but that might actually work to change it all back. Yeah, it's changed it all back. So you can see that 2 is here and 11 is here. And if we want to see what is within that citation, we right click, we go edit citation, and then we go more. And you can see that Alonso is now Alonso number 540. It appears twice in the reference list. And you can see it's the exact same one, Alonso 540. It appears twice. And if we scroll down to our bibliography, we'll see that we'll only have one Alonso in the bibliography, which is the one that we want, and we've safely removed the duplicate without messing up all of our references. So you can see it's now reference number 2, and when it used to be reference number 12 or whatever it was, there is no Alonso down here. So that's the end of the entire Endnote video series. I hope it's been entertaining and useful for you. If you have any questions about Endnote, then get in touch with me. I probably won't be able to answer because I've just told you everything I know about Endnote. But after this, you kind of understand the concept and the power of Endnote, and I hope that you'll be able to use it in a way that's useful. I should say I don't have shares in Endnote or anything. You can do pretty much the same stuff with other referencing software. So don't feel like this tutorial series was only pointing you towards Endnote. You can actually use similar principles for any reference management software. I hope this is useful for your assignments, but also if any of you are silly enough to become academics, then you'll be very much worshipping this program because it'll save your life. Thank you very much for listening, and see you around the college when we get off coronavirus lockdown.